Pakistan cricket at its best. 1 minute down, next minute up.
Thanks very much, folks, for joining me once again. Sad Sadiq here for PakPassion, bringing you another exclusive interview. I'm delighted to be joined by a former England pace bowler who I think could still play for England, in my opinion. He's still good enough and quick enough. He's played 16 T20Is for England. His last T20I was in December 2023. When it comes to T20 leagues, I think I'd be here all night if I listed all the teams that he's played for. He's been a very popular pick at the IPL, the PSL, the Big Bash League. As I say, he's played all around the world. He's one of those guys who have that God-given talent of being able to bowl consistently at 90 miles plus. And he's a cricketer who I think has established himself and given 100% for whichever team he's played for. Very warm welcome to Tymal Mills. Tymal, thanks very much for your time.
Hi mate, very good to chat to you.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your own career, mate. Any regrets? I mean, you've only played 16 T20Is. You must look back and think, well, maybe I could have played a few ODIs as well. And I know at one point you were thought of as a possible Test cricketer as well.
Yeah, look, I don't like to have regrets. I don't sit there and I don't sit at night and regret how things have gone. But yeah, because at one point when I was younger, I might have had to retire kind of through injury when I was about 22, and I might never have gone on to play for England at all, or to play in all the leagues that you mentioned. But yeah, I think I certainly could have done more and offered more on an international level. Yeah, I kind of was in and out of the England or out of the England team a lot more than I was in, and then over the last few years, kind of just got called in for World Cups mainly, which is obviously great. But yeah, look, my injury record when I was younger wasn't the best, and that hurt my selection. And yeah, and then aside from the 2021 T20 World Cup in the UAE, I probably didn't quite perform as well in England colours as what I would have liked. But there's also been periods of time where I've been bowling really well and be good, and then just missed out on selection as well. So look, no regrets, but yeah, like, ultimately I feel like I could have and should have played more for England. But yeah, I think that ship has probably sailed now.
When did you realise that you could bowl so fast? I mean, I speak to a lot of fast bowlers. I've done over the years as well, and some of them say that they knew from a very young age that they could bowl really fast. But others say that they didn't realise that they could bowl that fast. Some were like spinners initially or batters. When did you realise that you could bowl that quickly?
Yeah, straight away. I think the first game I played. I didn't grow up playing cricket. I didn't grow up wanting to be a cricketer. I never played my first game of cricket until I was 14, so I was very late to the game. And yeah, that in that game I got kind of given an over towards the end just to kind of say thanks for helping out and for coming along. And yeah, I think I whizzed one or two past the batter's ears. So yeah, it was quite apparent from a young age that I had a natural ability, I guess, to bowl quicker than certainly anybody my age, and often obviously the adults that I was playing with as well. So it was just a case of over the years trying to contain that, and trying to improve the accuracy side of things. And then obviously once I started to get serious about cricket, by the time I got to about 17, so I needed to improve batting and fielding and all the other stuff that comes with it, and fitness and the like. So yeah, like, I was very lucky. I kind of had a good combination of physical attributes, I guess, that helped me to bowl fast. And then it was just a case of harnessing that, and then trying to stay fit and be fit enough to replicate that.
There's a lot of challenges these days for modern day pace bowlers. You've got the lure of T20 leagues and trying to balance that out with international cricket as well. I mean, it must be, whilst it's a great time to be a fast bowler, it's also a very challenging time as well. Would you say, Tamo?
It is, but there's plenty of opportunities, and there's no matter what avenue you want to go down. If you want to be a brilliant test player, there's that is still a very lucrative and fulfilling and attractive avenue. County cricket in the UK is still really strong. Test cricket in the UK is really strong. So for those guys, that's more than feasible. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, the T20 opportunities around the world are plentiful. But you've got to be well equipped to deal with that. You've got to be versatile. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be fit. And you've got to know how to work the system a little bit. It's a funny world, franchise cricket. You got to be a bit of a chameleon and make sure you're doing the right things, on and off the pitch. Ultimately, it comes down to cricket. You need to perform and you need to show your worth and your value. But yeah, it's a great time to be a cricketer of any form. As I said, there's so much opportunity out there now, and you can make a really good living and experience some amazing things.
You mentioned about injuries. You've had your fair share of injuries over the years. We're finding in Pakistani cricket that our pacers, they start really well and then they suffer a number of injuries. They come back and they're nowhere near as quick or as good as they were in the past. We've seen that with the likes of Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah, Afridi. Is that down to bad luck or is it something else?
Oh, look, it's for every person, for every individual, it's very different. There's obviously been some well-documented cases in Pakistan of some bowlers that were mismanaged through their injuries, which you never want to see. Because as players, you put a lot of trust in, your physios and doctors and support staff, and you trust them to give you the best care. So that's something that I've learned as I've got older is where possible, you need to try and take ownership of your own body and to trust your gut and listen to your own body and have the confidence to speak up regarding that when you don't feel quite right or you feel strongly about a certain point. So that's something that I've learned with experience and with age. And I think it's as at the end of the day, it is our bodies and we're the ones that are in charge of it, and we need to do what is best for us. And that's hard to do for certain people or for younger guys or for people in maybe different cultures. But it's something that I've learned to do. But as you say, Pakistan has never struggled to produce fast bowlers, and it's just a case of you need a bit of good luck and good genetics and things as well. That will definitely help you stay on the park, and some people that you trust that can make the right decisions around you as well.
You played in the PSL for a number of franchises, Tymal, and you were a popular pick. And you turned out some fantastic performances whilst playing at the PSL. What are your sort of memories of the PSL? And I'm particularly inquiring about sort of the professionalism levels because I know there's been critics of tournaments such as the PSL, suggesting that it's just a way to make easy money and the cricket's not very competitive. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, the latter point I disagree with wholeheartedly. It's a very competitive league. I don't think that's ever been in question. That's one thing that all overseas players that I've ever spoken to or played with and against at the PSL, they say that the cricket's always of a really high standard, and I've always found that. Obviously, in the early days, it was played out in Dubai, which didn't have the same, I guess, impact since it's obviously gone back to Pakistan, and the stadiums have been, for the most part, full and great crowds. The cricket side of things is really, really strong. Sometimes they've brought the boundaries in a bit too far, if you a bit too close, sorry, if you ask my opinion as a bowler in Pakistan. But yeah, so it's been skewed a little bit towards the batters at times, but I understand as an entertainment product as well. But yeah, look, the PSL it's a competition that I hold in high regard. I think it's probably the competition I've played the most in outside of the UK. And I'm disappointed to not be there right now. I kind of won the competition with Islamabad last year, and then found myself without a contract this year. So it's frustrating. I want to play as much cricket as I can, and I feel I've got a lot to offer. I'm feeling really good whilst training here in the UK, getting ready for our summer. So hopefully I'll be back out there next year if an opportunity arises. But yeah, as you say, I've played for 4 different PSL franchises now, and had really great experiences with them all.
I was going to say regarding the PSL, and having played in various other leagues as well, how does it compare? Because each of these leagues seems to have its own strengths and weaknesses. What would you say that the PSL's strengths are, Tymal?
Obviously, the standard of fast bowling's very high, as you know, throughout the leagues, and the use of the emerging player, I think, is obviously quite unique in the PSL, and often that has ended up unearthing young fast bowlers. I think that's the way that it's normally gone down. Is the teams usually use their emerging player on a young tearaway quick, which is always exciting to see. So that's obviously the standout of the or the calling card, I guess, of the PSL, the standard of the fast bowling. But you're starting to get some more batters in there and that can clear the ropes and hit sixes. And I think the uniqueness of playing in Pakistan as well is a real strong attribute of the PSL, the different grounds, you know, from Multan to Rawalpindi and obviously Karachi and Lahore. They're four different venues, four different kind of wickets, different stadiums, and all kind of bring a different kind of flavor to it. So yeah, as I mentioned before, the PSL's a tournament I know really well, and yeah, I've enjoyed every experience I've had, both kind of on the field from the cricket point of view, but off the field, you know, we always get looked after really well, especially those first couple of years when cricket first came back to Pakistan. You know, you could tell, and people told you how, you know, how grateful they were, you know, to come back to Pakistan and be part of that process in those early years.
We've sort of touched upon it a little bit, Tymal, but I just wanted to speak to you about the challenges for young pace bowlers these days of wanting to play in all three formats. It's almost physically impossible, isn't it? And you know, how much can the body take of these guys? Because you've got all the leagues, you've got international cricket as well, and you know, it's sort of almost at a breaking point for young fast bowlers to have to give up almost one of the formats, isn't it?
Yeah, potentially. As I say, it is different for every person. Every individual will have different circumstances, and everyone's bodies will be different. You know, you look at guys that are able to play it all. There those guys are few and far between. But yeah, I think it's important to respect what everybody wants to do. Each person's has their own, as I say, their own circumstances on and off the field, their own priorities. Some guys' dream will be to, you know, take 400 or 500 test wickets. Some guys that may not be their dream and their aspiration, and they might look at white ball cricket and franchise cricket and see that as their as that is where they want to be. So I think first of all you have to respect that everybody's different. And yeah, as a fast bowler, I think it's tricky. You gotta be really resilient. You know, if I had my time again, I'd yeah, try and build up that resilience probably a bit younger from making sure my actions, you know, as clean as it can be, to make sure I was doing the right things in the gym, on and off the pitch. Probably doing a bit more running when I was younger to kind of harden the body a bit more, build up that engine, I guess. Because yeah, it's hard, especially even T20 cricket. It's hard. You might have to play, fly, play again, try and you're expected to perform. You know, these franchise owners and the coaches, you don't often get a long leash. If you have two or three bad games, you can find yourself, you know, on the bench. So the schedule sometimes doesn't help that if you're playing multiple games in the space of a few days. So whilst T20 cricket, yeah, it's less overs, it's less volume. You know, you're not doing your 20 overs in the day, 100 overs in the field. It has its different challenges that certainly are very prominent in modern franchise cricket.
You mentioned before that it's a batter's game these days, time out, and the shorter boundaries, etc., etc. We know about sort of the bouncer rules, and we could go on all night about how the game is tilted towards batters. But as a bowler, if you had a 14-year-old lad smashing you to all parts, that must be soul destroying.
I can imagine, but also it's amazing. Like when I didn't watch the game yesterday, but I've since seen the highlights, and yeah, when it kind of popped up on my phone, I thought, wow, like that's it doesn't matter who you are, you can't do anything but be amazed by that. 14, you know, 14-year-old boy. scoring what was it, 37 ball 100 in, on the biggest stage of them all, arguably in the IPL. It's phenomenal considering I played my first ever game of cricket at 14. Try and put myself in those shoes, and I'm thinking of my kids now. I've got a little boy who's 2 and a little girl who's 4. I can't imagine them doing something like that in 10, 12 years. So yeah, it's amazing, and I hope and I'm sure he'll go on to achieve a lot of greatness. He's got a lot of time to do so. That's for sure.
Harry Brook has been appointed as the white ball captain for England. A good choice in your opinion?
Yeah, yeah, I've done a couple of England tours with Brookie. He's a great guy, very well liked around the changing room, the dressing room. I think you'll struggle to find anybody that doesn't like him, which is a great starting point. So he'll be a popular choice, and from the experience and the time that he has had captaining with England last year, he was successful, and it didn't affect his batting, which is obviously something that's really important when you want to try and have a captain that's contributing in their discipline as much as you can. So yeah, look, Brookie, he's a young guy, he's a very talented guy, so look, he's somebody that can hopefully do the job for a long time.
And finally, Tymal, what's on the horizon? What's coming up in the next few months, and any future plans?
Yeah, as I said, I'm just disappointed to not be at the PSL right now. It's a tournament I always kind of look forward to playing in and have played a lot in. So just using this time now to get ready for the English summer, spending time with my family. I have a young family, but yes, I'm the captain of Sussex for the T20 for the Blast side. So we start in kind of just under a month's time here. So once I get to the kind of middle end of May, it's pretty busy playing in the Blast, May, June into July. Then I've got a couple of weeks break, and then we have the 100 where I'm back with Southern Brave through August, and then yeah, be looking to head around overseas from there on in, and just keep trying to stay fit and play as much as I can for as long as I can. That's the plan.
Tymal, really appreciate your time and wish you all the best for the future. And as I say, thanks very much for your time.
No worries. Take care.